What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, I had to revisit this because we have another this or that contender here. We've got the Hono Studios Hot Toys affiliated version of Wolverine, but also the standard version that we're getting from the Deadpool and Wolverine film. So the question remains, do we need both of these versions? They're both really cool and honestly offer some very different things. So stick around, let's talk about it. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Ben Thomas.
Go time! Here we go, here we go, here we go!
Okay guys, so welcome back. So this is interesting to me because the Hono toys came out a couple months ago, giving us their look at kind of a Jim Lee inspired Wolverine, that yellow and blue look, and it was really fierce looking. I mean, let's be honest, the huge arms that this figure comes with, the seamless sections, which were fantastic, especially for the price point. And despite the fact that it doesn't come with any type of Wolverine head sculpt likeness to any actor specifically, that was okay because it would really go with any X-Men collection that you might have. And a lot of people jumped on it because the other main factor with the Hono brand was that even though it was affiliated with Hot Toys, it still seemed as though it was its own entity, and it came in at the $160 price point, which for a 6-scale figure was a shockingly low dollar amount. And so a lot of us jumped on board, including myself. But I also jumped on board knowing that we were going to be getting the Deadpool and Wolverine film. And while I wasn't sure that we, at the time would see a yellow and blue suit, we all kind of had our fingers crossed, and slowly we had a chance to see some of the images come from the film. And now we have an opportunity to really kind of see what that uniform is going to look like in the movie itself. And it doesn't disappoint. It was the first time we got a chance to also see what the head sculpt with the cowl will look like. Or more specifically, what Hugh Jackman will look like potentially in the cowl on screen. And we're now about, 6 weeks away from the film coming out? So I'm getting more and more excited as we go along. But you got to admit that even with the, standard edition version here that we're looking at from Hot Toys from the Deadpool and Wolverine film, that the one thing you gotta notice right away is the price point. Let's be honest here, there is no likeness rights for this version, or I wouldn't think that there is, because while you could say that the mouth plates resemble Hugh Jackman, do they really have to pay him for likeness rights to have this figure, or is it just part of the package deal? Maybe that's part of the reason that there's a cost. I'm not too sure, but when you compare it apples to apples with the Hono brand, both have about the same amount of hands, both come with the adamantium claws, both come with these big, muscular, seamless arms. So when you're comparing both apples to apples, to be honest, they're pretty darn similar. And so it comes down to then, well, what's your favorite look maybe for the Wolverine? So for me, I got to admit, I really like the new Deadpool and Wolverine suit, but if I was just going to display this look, if maybe I only had one choice, I actually still kind of lean towards the Hono brand at this point. I like that his arms are even more kind of comically large and hairy. I think that that's really, really cool. I like how his mask has the fins that go up the side, just that a little bit higher. Again, kind of more akin to the animated look or that comic inspired look, the one that I'm in love with anyways. Whereas the new Wolverine suit here looks a little bit more like it's a mixture of several different Wolverine looks kind of from history, which I also kind of like. Now, you could argue, well, there's definitely room for both here, and that's why it's a this or that. So I want to know what you guys are thinking here, because let's be honest, this is a $120 price difference. It also sheds light on what I feel like is the man behind the curtain when it comes to market value and margin. So profit margin on these figures must be wild, right? If you think about how cheap it must be for these companies to actually make these figures. It's kind of identified in the Hono brand because of how low in cost they can sell it. It's still licensed, it's still an X-Men figure, it's still done by Marvel at this point, it's still done by a licensed company like Hot Toys at this point, and all the same applies to the standard suit from the Deadpool and Wolverine film. The other interesting thing that you gotta wonder is, what will the quality of these feel like in hand? Of course, we haven't actually had a Hono brand in hand yet, so while it looks premium on the screen, the price point makes it feel like it almost shouldn't. It makes me feel like I'm expecting the worst, whereas we already know the quality of Hot Toys for the most part. I also wonder what posability will be like. The new suit from the Deadpool and Wolverine film here looks like it's got probably posability more akin to the Captain America suit or even the Deadpool suit, where, as I will say, the Deadpool 2 suit was pretty posable, I will give it credit. The Captain America one wasn't, so if it's somewhere as a hybrid in between, I'll be curious to see. The Hono brand does look like it does have the possibility of being at least more articulating as well, so that'll be an interesting factor to be sure. I think if you've got an animated X-Men display, maybe you've got some of the third-party versions that exist now at this point, I can see a world in which you'd want the Hono brand one to go with that setup. I do think it looks more kind of comic and animated inspired. If your display is more cemented in the world of the real, if your display gives you that feeling of when you look at your 6 scale figures, they're kind of 1/6 shrunk down versions of real people in these costumes.
I am soaking wet right now.
Then I do think, personally, that the new version, the Deadpool and Wolverine version, is closer resembling kind of a real life portrayal. And maybe that's just because I've seen it on screen. Hard to know. When we get the Hono brand in hand, will it feel still animated, or will it still feel like that guy in a suit? That nostalgic feeling that I've got when I look at my display. So then what one do you choose? Is it both? For me, I like the look, like I said, of the Hono. I like the look of the arms. I like the grizzled look that he's got. I don't love the cod piece on this one, not gonna lie. It really stands out. And while the blue kind of thong underwear is iconic to his comic look, I do like that they got rid of that with the Deadpool and Wolverine suit. But I do think that there's room for both here. So guys, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. This is a quick one today, but what are your thoughts? Is it this being the Hono brand? Is it that being the Hot Toys brand? Is it both? Let me know your comments down below. But if you liked the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.